Hey everybody, it's Kay, and today I am giving a review of books that I finished in March that are not March Mystery Madness related. Now, most of these books I listened to on audio, and I'm going to tell you about those books right now. So the first one is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. This book was fantastic. I loved it. The book is told in verse, just like The Poet X. It is read by the author, and I'm so glad that he chose to read the book. At the end of the story, he said the reason why he chose to do the narration is because he basically knew all the passion behind the words that he wrote. He knew the character's vulnerability. He knew how the stanzas were supposed to sound. He knew the inflections that of the verses and where they needed to go. So I'm so glad that he read the book. It was a story of revenge, loss, anger, redemption, coming of age in an elevator, 60 seconds of excellence. It's about a young man named Will whose brother has been murdered, and Will steps on an elevator with a gun, with the desire to seek out revenge. And the entire story is his thought process on the way down in that elevator, what he's going to do. Fantastic. I would definitely read something else by Jason Reynolds. That was a really, really good book. Next was The Poet X. Speaking of verse, everyone's already raved about this book and talked about it. I'll just say this: raw, honest, refreshing. Check it out. Next is Queenie by Carty-Williams. I just did a review on this book the other day, and it was so hard for me to review that book without really giving spoilers and really getting into a deep examination of the book, because there's so much to pick apart out of that book. But everything wrong with that book and everything wrong with that character is what made me love it so much. I love a problematic book. I love problematic and flawed characters that make me want to scream and pull my hair out and throw the book across the room. I love a book that evokes that kind of emotion in me. Queenie is about a Jamaican British woman who has a very bad breakup, a tumultuous breakup with her white long-term boyfriend Tom. And the fact that he's white is a very pertinent part of this story. She basically heads down a path of self-destruction, and she has to find her way back to who she wants to be. She makes a lot of mistakes, and one thing I like to think about this book, I hope the author's intent in writing this book and this character is to show us what not to do, because you don't want to be like Queenie. You don't want to allow some of the things that she allowed, and you don't want to behave the way that she behaved. But I thought the book was really good. I did say in my video that the book is not going to be for everyone, and it's not. But it was just so well written. I love the narration. I thought the narration really made the book, really made a difference in the book for me. But I would suggest that you give it a try. I think people are going to love it. It's polarizing. The book is going to be polarizing. There'll be people who love it, people who hate it, everybody in the middle, but mainly I think you'll hate it or love it. But the best thing about the book is that we'll talk about it. And I think that's what matters most. The next book I listened to was The Dreamers by Karen Thompson Walker. And I picked it up initially because I thought it was going to be a thriller, but quickly found out it's not really a thriller. It was science fiction. It reads like a thriller, but there's no part of the book that gives you goosebumps. There are a lot of characters in this book, but I really didn't care about any of them except one person. There was one character named May. I kind of liked her. The book is about a sleep sickness that overcomes a college campus where these kids were falling asleep and they weren't waking up. They would sleep for days, weeks, months, whatever. There was no rhyme or reason as to who um, was immune to the sickness and who wasn't. The sickness ended up branching off from the college campus into the community and affecting the residents of the town. I just didn't get this book. I didn't. I didn't get it. But listen, the prose in this book, the writing was beautiful. Beautiful prose, fantastic imagery, vivid settings, but those things were just not enough to save this book. I think that this author would be great at writing like contemporary romance because of the languages she uses, the way she turns her phrases. This book just didn't get it for me. It missed the mark, in my opinion. Then we have A Teaspoon of Earth and Sea by Dina Nayari. This was my book club selection for March. Our book club all agreed that the book was not great. We agreed that the story itself was good, but the book was so slow, so dry. She took way too many pages to tell this story. It's about a young Iranian girl who thinks her mom and twin sister went off to America and left her in Iran with her dad to be raised with this village of women who really don't, some of them like her, some of them don't. The girl grows up, she has this very vivid imagination, and she tells these stories about her sister and what she thinks her sister is doing in her life at that particular moment. Although she has never heard from her sister since that day she felt like her sister took off on that plane. I just didn't. This book missed the mark for me. We had a very good discussion on the book, but the book itself was just okay. We weren't fans of this book. So those were the books that I read and or listened to aside from the March books. Now I did put several books on hold at the library and they just came in all at the same time. I'm not going to be able to finish them for March Mystery Madness, but they are An Anonymous Girl by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekonen. This one is about a young woman. She's 28 years old. She signs up to be a part of a social experiment, but then realizes once things get a little weird that she may have gotten herself involved in something that she shouldn't have. This one is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I know a lot of people have already read and reviewed this book, and I stayed away from those reviews for the most part. I don't even know really what this book is about, but this is a cover read and a social media read, basically. I just saw everybody post it and I reserved it at the library. This one I've been waiting for is Runaway by Harlan Coben, one of my favorite authors. This book is about a young girl who gets involved with drugs and has a horrible boyfriend, runs away from her parents, and her father, I believe it's her father, goes after her and ends up in a world that is very evil and sick and twisted. And yeah, so that's what that one is about. And then the last one is my book club selection for the month of April, which is Them by Nathan McCall. Long and short of it, this book is about gentrification in a predominantly Black neighborhood in Atlanta. So, oh, and I have one more. I'm listening to a true crime novel in my car because I wanted to squeeze one true crime in for March Mystery Madness, and that one is about a man named Jeffrey Epstein, and this man is demented and sick, let me tell you. I'll talk about that when I do a review, my final review for March Mystery Madness. But that's all I have to share with you today. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hi to all my new subscribers. If you've read any of these books, let me know what you thought about them down in the comments below. Please try to refrain from, putting any spoilers in there. I don't want people to get upset about that. But anyway, that's my review for today. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, everybody, keep reading. Bye-bye.